Welcome back. The program is the Afia Morning Show. Once again, my name is Nathalie and Oji is here. Oji, good morning. How'd you do?
I'm great. Good morning. Good morning.
How was your evening?
It was restful.
Now that's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
More restful evenings ahead, hopefully. And now it's a brand new day, so this is saying, please, whatever it is you do to keep yourself active, please make sure you do that, because a long day ahead, and we're here to make sure you have all the information you need to start your day in the best way possible. Barrister Chidi Ujoatumba, human rights lawyer, CEO Ujoatumba and Company, is also here with us. Barrister Chidi, pleasure to have you this morning.
Thanks. Good morning.
Good morning. It's been a minute.
Good morning, viewers.
It's been a minute. You went on holiday.
Yes. A very wonderful and beautiful holiday.
Yeah.
In preparation of our break and the Barr conference that is forthcoming.
The NBA conference is coming, but right before that, you have this holiday looming. The Federal High Court has announced the date for its holiday, and people are wondering,
The Court of Appeal have embarked on their own
what about
holiday.
the Enugu State High Court?
The Enugu State High Court will soon embark on their own holiday
Recess.
as we get into the first and second week of August. All judges are wrapping up their case, both in the higher court and in the magistrate court. So it's going to be a wonderful holiday. We are looking forward to hosting all the lawyers in Nigeria here in Enugu, and you're not gonna want to miss any part of that.
What does it mean for the plaintiffs and defendants that the courts are going on holiday?
Well, it's a ritual that has been as old as the profession itself, that in August we normally go on break. I think they already know. I overheard some clients discussing that had it been one lawyer didn't even assist them to get bail, which means that they would have been in a prison during the August break. So it's something that they already know, that during August, lawyers do go on break, apart from probably some who are, newly introduced into going to court and getting things to do with lawyers, whom I can tell you that it will be alien and new to. But anyone who has the primary knowledge of how law works and when court sits, I think the person should know that August is our time.
Yeah, but there are people with pending cases now in court,
They
and
will
they are
have to
wondering.
wait, because we're not even coming back immediately after August. Immediately after August, the judges will embark on their own break. You understand? This is only for lawyers. So we're looking at coming back around that kind of towards the end of September, and some judges will resume sitting first week of October. The dates we have been given this last week as court sits through its October, some even November. Yesterday I got 27th of November. You can imagine. So it's quite lengthy, and it's because of the volume of work involved. And also, there's one point you need not to miss here. Our judges are still using their hands to record. When you watch, yesterday I sat before a high court judge who did 22 cases, and he was using his hands to record all the proceedings.
Right, yes.
All the proceedings. He had to go for a break of 30 minutes and come. I was really pitying him, because when you see the vocabulary and the legal position of these lawyers, he must record everything, because that's their case. So the earlier we look at, making the, work environment for judges very, very easy by getting those who record for them while they give instruction, it will help to make them conclude more cases.
I think it's even a time to even call for technological solutions,
Yes.
because if you pass the job on to someone else
It's
to
a
record,
campaign right now.
you're still, it's a campaign, because the person still has to write all through, and that could even cause this repetitive strain disorder because of the writing. They should have some kind of means
You'll
of...
be on your own and your hands will be shaking like this.
Exactly.
Because you've been writing for quite a long time.
All right, so obviously people that are waiting the cases to be heard or tried still have to sit down and wait through the holiday. So at this point in time that the holiday is imminent, what should people that want to go before the court, people that have pending cases before the court do? Should they start to ambush the courtroom, or should they sit tight and wait for the holiday?
There's what we call the name have just escaped my memory, but let me look for a term
ADR?
that I can use to, there's a vacation judge who's going to sit right now. Okay. The vacation judge has already been appointed. So why the lawyers and the judges are embarking on their break, there's a sitting high court that will start from the very first day the vacation starts. So if you have pending cases, or if you have new cases that need to be instituted, more especially those that borders on fundamental human rights, you understand, those that borders on probably someone was binded over by the magistrate court and the person is in prison correctional facilities, you really have to bring that person straight to that vacation court for his bail application to be heard within time. So for this time that all lawyers will be enjoying their vacation and everything, there will be a sitting judge. There will be a sitting court opening every day from Monday to Friday. So this is the provision made by the judiciary to ensure, and in all states of the federation, there's a vacation judge that sits. And immediately after the lawyers come back, the magistrate court will come back and all the magistrates will start sitting immediately. It's not as though that their own vacation will stretch till September and October. So there's always a backup plan made to take on contingency cases, to take on cases that happen within that time of vacation.
When exactly are the lawyers and judges going to go on holiday? What day are we looking at?
We're looking at first week of August. As from first week of August. But right now, the Court of Appeal, the jurisdiction differs. Right now, as we speak, the Court of Appeal judges have embarked on their own break and they are coming back in October. Okay, right now, Federal High Court have embarked on their own break. High Court Enugu will embark on their own break, maybe next week and at least first week of August. And that's the way it goes. And the lower court, like customary courts, are sitting. Courts like magistrate court will continue to sit even in the middle of the break. Magistrate court, magistrate court is a summary court. They'll continue to sit. This is a place where you can, let me give you an instance. If you mistakenly transfer money to an account, your bank will always tell you, go and get a court order. So there's always a standing magistrate, okay, ready to hear petitions and motions like court order being brought for him to give an order for money that was wrongly transferred in an account to also be transferred back to that account that wrongly transferred it. There's always a provision for all these kind of
so that means that everybody, no matter where you are, everybody that has something to do with the court to be affected, even high-profile cases like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case as well, has also been moved forward as a result of this vacation coming. So it has a lot of implications.
It has, I will not lie to you, it will affect a whole lot of cases that will not be heard during the time of vacation. But it will also make provision for new cases that are coming up in order for people's cases or people not to be, rotting away in the prison or having not the judicial answer to their questions.
All right. Now let's shift away from the courtroom. I'm sure we'll have an extended discussion on this as the NBA conference is coming up soon.
We'll be reporting live.
Issues relating to the courtroom. We'll have that conversation. Let's move on now to other stories, beginning with the newspaper review. This Nigeria. And the top story here says, sorry, you can't go in. Security locks out Natasha from NAS amid reinstatement rule. I'll seek appeal court's interpretation of judgment, says embattled senator. Adeleke backs Tinubu for 2027, gets PDP endorsement for 2026. Senate secures federal government pledge to pay Empower 81 billion naira backlog. Wike to Webolo. Focus on development, ignore distractions. Obi notifying me before visiting Edo, not threat. This according to the governor. Nigeria loses $18 billion annually to illicit financial flows, according to minister. Straight to the punch. APC may pick Ganduje's successor at make or break NEC meeting. Israeli protest in Tel Aviv over Gaza food shortages. Natasha heads to court after Senate's blockade. Article warns as Okpebolo, Wike insist on Obi's visit clearance. APC boils over Tinubu's endorsements by Adeleke Oyinlola. On Nigerian Tribune, confusion persists over APC NEC meeting. Governors, NWC and DAC over caucus. Osun PDP leaders endorse Tinubu Adeleke for second term. Owning a smartphone before age 13 linked to poor mental health. This is a special health feature. Africa losing $90 billion annually to imported substandard fuel, Dangote laments. Federal government issues fresh flood alerts for 28 states. External reserves hit $40.1 billion in July, this according to the CBN governor. Moving on straight to the nation. APC PDP kickstarts 2027 plans with key NEC meetings. Adeleke Oyinlola Osun PDP leaders back Tinubu's re-election. Presidents to inaugurate cancer centers in Katsina, Benin, and Nsukka. Natasha supporters create scene at National Assembly entrance. Attorney General Fabemi's office denies government stake in First Holdco PLC, says this day arise reports malicious. And on The Guardian, Suspense as Tinubu APC NEC meets over zoning new chairman. That ICC renovation and renaming of public assets. An editorial on page 12. Reps consider restricting politicians' families to public hospitals, schools. Stakeholders warn of setback for Nigeria, Africa as U.S. exits UNESCO. Tension as security operatives deny Natasha access to National Assembly. And lastly here, Senate approves Tinubu's $21.8 billion loan plan, 758 billion naira pension bond amid soaring debt concerns.
Daily Trust. How Ajibade Alozie fired Nigeria into WAFCON finals. National Assembly bars Natasha from resuming plenary. Flood. Acts now, Northern Elders tell FG. Rep asks US to restore 5-year visa policy for Nigerians. Our business cannot survive on double-digit interest rates, says entrepreneurs. 8 months after missing child unites with mother. Lawmakers indict 31 MDAs, ask EFCC to recover 103 billion naira, $950,000. Lastly, on Daily Trust, why Tinubu is yet to appoint ambassadors. Salient Times. Funding structure delays Supreme Court backed direct payments to LGAs, says Edun. Wike's claim absurd. I didn't get 4 billion naira monthly from NDDC, Amechi's wife reveals. Natasha Akpoti storms National Assembly on foot, berates Akpabio, mob brutally assaults woman after drunk man accused her of stealing his manhood in Jos. NCAA directs airlines to enforce $10,000 declaration for passengers. WAFCON 2024 Super Falcons pipe South Africa zoom into final. Senate approves Tinubu's $21.8 billion external borrowing plan for 2025-2026, 210 trillion naira audit. Senate panel threatens NNPCLG CEO with arrest after missing 4 hearings. Lastly, Senate to host special session in honor of Buhari. Moving over to Platform Times, reps move to ban public servants, families from patronizing private schools, hospitals. Chibok parents mourn Buhari, demand renewed action for 87 girls still missing. Outdated chemistry syllables hurting Nigeria's tech growth, pursued scholar. Nigeria loses $18 billion annually to illicit financial flows, FIRS chair says. Africa blades $90 billion yearly to toxic fuel, says Dangote. EFCC unveils new evidence against Esquire governor over 5.78 billion naira UBEC scandal. Babcock inducts 866 medical lab scientists, charged them on innovation ethics. Lastly, police nab notorious imposter who posed as governors. EFCC chair IGP orders the matrix. You remain suspended, Senate tells Natasha. This is another skit-making content creation by our colleague, says Senate. Akpabio cannot be greater than Nigerian Constitution, says Akpoti-Uduaghan. Senate approves Tinubu's $21 billion loan for 2025 budget. Africa losing $90 billion annually to imported substandard and fuel. Dangote laments, says Dangote refinery imports 9 to 10 million barrels of crude monthly from U.S. orders. Why we retain interest rate at 27.5%, says Cardoso. It's to sustain momentum of disinflation, sufficiently contain price pressure, says gross external reserves rose to $40.1 billion. Tinubu sets a first quarter 2026 target for takeoff of national single window. Amid outrage, Obebolo insists Obi should notify him before visiting Edo. Adeleke Sean's APC declares 2026 re-election bid on PDP platform. WAFCON, Nigeria beats holder South Africa to meet Morocco in final. Sycophants miling around Tinubu, not telling him the truth. APC chieftain. And the last one right here, Daily Independence 2027 election. PDP finally zones presidency to the South, holds neck to address issues bedeviling party. Founding fathers move to reclaim party's legacy. South East PDP disowns Odefa as national vice chair ahead of NEC. Governor Adeleke Osun PDP endorsed Tinubu for second term. We are working on full implementation of Supreme Court's ruling on LGs, says FG. We import 10 million barrels of crude monthly from U.S. orders, says Dangote. Says Africa losing $90 billion annually importing substandard fuel. New tax policy, FG rolls up sleeves to actualize $1 trillion economic target. SEC eyes $500 billion windfall from commodities exchange warehousing reforms. Northern leaders warn of flood disaster, seek FG's intervention. Reps seek clearer court judgments over Natasha legal standoff. Natasha slams Senate after security barred her convoy at NAS. 8 banks meet recapitalization requirements, says CBN. MPC holds policy rate steady at 27.50%. And lastly, we can't celebrate rebased GDP while hunger is killing Nigerians. ADC blasts Tinubu.
All right, thank you, Oji. I think we'll begin straight from this Nigeria. The major story, sorry, you can't go in. Senator representing Kogi Central, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, said her suspension from the National Assembly was personally orchestrated by Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Now the suspended Kogi lawmaker defied the narrative of the Senate and stormed the National Assembly complex to a large crowd of supporters on Tuesday in Abuja. Unable to gain entrance into the chambers, Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan told journalists that her suspension, as filed, of course, faulted by the court, is excessive and did not stop her from resuming her legislative duties. Let's hear from her.
The 22nd of July 2025, having duly notified the Senate through 2 letters that I would be resuming functions today. As a matter of fact, I'm disappointed on 2 grounds. One is the number of armed policemen that we met outside, all well kitted with guns, charged at a female senator who is unarmed with her people here, patriotic Nigerians. And the second thing is the fact that the Senate, under the leadership of Godswill Akpabio, have decided to become lawbreakers and by denying me entrance into the chambers to resume my duty. There's been some conversations in the media by his own team, trying to twist the narrative that the judge did not order my reinstatement, and I'd like to clarify that. You see, pursuant to Section 318 of the 1999 Constitution, it is very clear that decisions of a court comes in 5 ways. It could be a judicial decree, it could be a sentence, it could be an order, it could be a conviction, and it could be a recommendation. So an order is just one of the 5 decisions that a judge can pronounce over any case, and mine tilt towards a recommendation. Now you would think that a recommendation is a voluntary, that means the Senate has either they comply or they have the right not to comply, but I'd like to clarify that. Again, if you go further to the to Section 287, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution, again, it actually specifies in clear terms that decisions, that's any of these 5 decisions of any of the Nigerian courts are binding and enforceable on every Nigerian and every authority. So what that means in simple terms, whether they mention that the Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court made an order or made a sentence or made a judicial decree or a recommendation, whatever, however they want to interpret the literal words, interpretation of the words, it is still a decision of a court and it is still binding on the National Assembly.
And of course, that's the suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan trying to gain access to NAS, and then she was denied by the Senate, and of course, security operatives that were stationed right there outside the chambers. Barrister Chidi, what is your reaction to the treatment of the suspended senator yesterday?
This is an issue that has been on the burner for a very long time right now. And in my own opinion, I honestly didn't expect Natasha to, go that way, trying to, force herself into the House plenary. If you have been opportune to see the judgment of the court, the Federal High Court Abuja, you can see it clearly there that the judge said that the House should consider recalling her back, that the period of her suspension is excessive. Now, when you look at the House, or the law that governs the House, there's actually no specific time that they say that you have to receive suspension. There's no specific time. There's no actually specific time. So I was thinking that because initially the House was telling them that we need to get a copy of the judgment. Now, I haven't gone through over that. Can there be a kind of a way of resolving this between her lawyer and the members of the House who are responsible to, make sure that the reinstatement is done legally? Making a show like this, I said that if you try to force yourself into the House, it's not going to be possible because you already have a case with the leadership of the House. And though in a different judgment, she was asked to write an apology in 2 national dailies. So there are so many things. And she has also appealed this whole judgment. So how can you appeal this whole judgment and you're also trying to force yourself into the House plenary?
You said you did not expect the suspended senator to make a show of it.
I didn't expect.
Are you aligning yourself with the stand of the Senate, saying that this is another skit-making content creation by our colleague? Are you aligning yourself with the stand?
I can't call it a skit making show, but I think she has lawyers. She's also a lawyer. There are ways, there are rules of engagement. There are ways that things should, work out. Okay, fine. If the court has made reinstatement, had made a statement that your suspension is excessive and that you need to be reinstated in order to carry out your legislative duty for your constituency, and you have written to the House, and the House said that we're not going to reinstate you. It's now a thing between your lawyer and the House, or probably you going to the higher court to get clarification, because there was no direct order mandating the leadership of the House to take her in. If there was a direct order, that order would have come with timeline. Okay, that order would have come with a timeline. The court would have said that let Natasha Akpoti be reinstated on or before this day. On or before this day. That's what we call an order of court. And it has to be separate from every other verdict that the judge have given. There's no direct order to that effect, even though it was one of the items that she asked the court to do. There's no direct order. The court would have said on the issue of your reinstatement, you understand, we hereby order that the House should reinstate you, or you allow you to resume plenary on or before this day. That's what we call an order of court. It has to be express. It's not something that we have to be looking whether it's an express or no. An order of court is an order of court, and it's a law. So the House know that they cannot disobey the order of court. That's why they're doing what they're doing.
So
that's what they're doing. What they're doing.
I guess it's misinterpretation on Natasha's side, and this is all semantics. As you said, consider, as the judge stated, give back more power to the House, to consider, right? So let's let that be the tagline, to consider. So is this a misinterpretation on Natasha's side, or she just want to go ahead and make a case out of as she stated that she's going back to the House on Tuesday?
I don't think that she actually misinterpreted this is her choice of doing things. This is how she really wants this whole thing to play out, okay? Because if I were to be one of her advisors, I wouldn't want this kind of show. There are leadership in every branch of government, okay? The executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. There are leadership. The other day, 10 to 11 judges were suspended by the NJC in Imo State. You can imagine them, you understand, marching with non-governmental organizations to the gate of the Supreme Court judge. So there are rules of engagement. There are ways that you can do things. Where did you go to get that order, or wherever is the statement of the court? Where did you go to obtain it? You went to the court of law. Now, if you are trying to enforce it and you've confronted friction, okay, where there is a kind of what we call misinterpretation, like you are trying to bring out, what do? You go back to that same court that make that order. The court can either affirm it to be an express order, you understand, or allow it to be what it is and still leave it to the leadership of the house. This is a country where we have laws, and we should allow those laws to play itself out, okay? I think Natasha did not really get it right by making this show at the gate of the National Assembly. Let me ask you a question. If you know that you are doing the right thing, if you are 100% sure that is an order of court, why didn't you just drive yourself and go? Why do you have to go with an entourage? Why do you have to make a show?
Maybe I'm
asking you right now. No, you're gonna have to answer me.
She already made it public that she's going to.
This is why the house is calling it a charade. Okay,
knowing how Nigeria
the
works,
house is
right?
calling it a charade.
Everyone was expecting what happened.
100% sure that it is an order of court, like she was trying to point out by citing section 318 of the 1999 Constitution. If you're 100% sure that the House should consider reinstating Natasha, okay, for her to be able to carry out do you know what that means? It means that the court have left the calling back and everything that has to do with her coming back to plenary, to the leadership of the House, okay? The House has to write her expressly, okay? It could be probably before the 6 months expires, but there should be a kind of a mutual understanding between the House and the outcome of the case. Meanwhile, this case has gone on appeal, and the House has also cross-appealed because they really want to get to somewhere. And now let me tell you where the House wants to get to. The House wants to get to this fact that, do they really have this autonomy to punish and erring senator? You know, do they really have that autonomy without the federal government or rather the president interfering, and without the court of law interfering? Do the House have, you know, in the other house you say the independent of the judiciary, the House of the National House of Assembly is taking this case up to the Supreme Court right now. You know what they want to establish? They want to establish the independent of the National Assembly, whether they have the autonomy to punish an erring member of the House with things like suspension, or with things like you can never move a motion without sitting at that particular seat who the leadership of the House has assigned to you. There are so many issues of leadership here. It's not just all about political charade and trying to whip sentiment. You should attack this issue from the standpoint of the law. If the court has ordered you to be reinstated and you are going there with an entourage, which means you know there will be opposition, there will be resistance, there will be pushback. That's where you're going, because the whole situation is not crystal clear. So why should you make it out that way? Why didn't you just go on your own with your private car? Since your orderlies and your security details has been removed from you, you are sure that it is an order of court. Take a copy of that order, drive yourself there. If you meet a resistance, you will still go back to that court that made that order for further interpretation. We have court of law in this state, in this country, and I think we should abide by the ambit of what the law has said.
Clearly,
making a show.
Clearly, there's a clash between the legislature and the judiciary in this case.
Definitely.
Because the judiciary is saying one thing, the legislature is saying another thing. You're seeing Akpabio faulting the capacity of the courts to even start to interfere in matters concerning the National Assembly. I'm not agreeing with you. So you're not telling me anything, Barrister Chidi. I assure you, we're on an entirely different page in all of this, right? Good. So essentially, what I'm trying to get at now is, I want us to leave our opinions. Okay. Let's agree to disagree on how this was handled. Okay. And I want to ask you now, where do you see all this leading? Where do you see this entire thing going? Is the Senate President ever going to allow the suspended embattled senator return to her duties? Is he going to let that happen? Because she is saying that it is the Senate President that is behind her current embattlements, more or less, as it stands.
Definitely, when you take a fight on a very big person, or rather when you try to, wrestle with someone who is as big as the Senate President, you will definitely get a very big pushback. You understand? It's not going to be a roller coaster ride or a walk in the park. He will tell you that he's also in a very big, he's the third man in this country. You understand? So what I'm saying in effect is that this issue will be resolved if Senator Natasha would start, probably change her advisors if she really wants to get back to the plenary on time and use the remaining part of her period as a senator to continue to carry out her legislative function as a senator. She should forget about shows like this. She should be legal about it. You understand?
Because the most
important thing here is getting
before
back.
you ask the question, Oji, let me ask you this question.
Yeah, it's getting
Barrister
back.
Chidi has made his stance entirely clear. He's saying that she shouldn't have made a show of it. She should have waited for the suspension to be exhausted. She shouldn't have gone to NAS yesterday, especially not with an entourage of supporters. Now let me come to you, Oji. Do you think that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan did right showing up at the Senate on Tuesday as she promised her constituents, her supporters, in the entire Nigeria?
I'll judge this from this prism, right? The people of Kogi Central are the ones suffering this whole charade at this point in time, right? Which I was even thinking maybe the Senate should, do away with their personal interests. As I'm talking about the Senate President right now. All his might, he wants to show you that I'm the Senate President and you can't, this is what is playing out right now. Somebody is trying to show you that I can do this. You can't come and challenge my authority. But you have to put some people into consideration here. The people of Kogi Central, which Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan represents, right? Because they're the ones suffering now, right? So this is from prison. I want to judge this. They have to lay down their arguments, back and forth tantrums right now, the court saying this and the Senate saying that, and focus on these people because they are the ones feeling the whole elephants are battling right now, walking through.
So where is this leading? Where is this leading your thoughts to?
The people of Kogi Central are the ones suffering. So they should do away with all these their mites and trying to challenge this and that and all that stuff. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan going to the Senate yesterday. Well, for me, she wanted to prove a point. Building up sentiment because it's political. No matter how you want to see it, right? It's political. It's not for today. It's for tomorrow. She's trying to pitch herself and put herself on a pedestal as a mantle of a symbolism of something, right? So that's what I give it to her.
She wants to keep the tempo high.
Yeah, it's good for her political career.
Okay.
Right? But then again, interpreting whatever the court says is very important. You have lawyers, you have attorneys all around you, right? So she wouldn't say that she does not know, what was written, what it was spelling out at that point in time, that this is what it is, that it still gives power back to the Senate to consider if, that's why when you read out what you read, to consider, as the judge stated, still consider if they're going to reduce your sentence, restate you and all that
first,
stuff.
Can I get a high five for the way you assess this? Just a quick high five. Fantastic. Now, the question I'm coming up with next is this. Judging by her, as you've said, possibly her motivation to whip up sentiments, is that what we're agreeing on this?
Yeah, from
possibly to whip up sentiments, to continue to stay in the news about this, to continue to make her constituents believe that she's out there for them. She's trying her best. Her core base. Is this leading your argument now to the fact that she should have gone or she shouldn't have gone to the Senate yesterday? Based on her, was it right for her to go?
No matter, there's nothing that is right or wrong now. When it comes to a political play, there's nothing right or wrong, right?
Okay, now let's imagine you being a political consultant, Oji. Judging by the matters you've laid out on this table, you've said it's possible she was trying to whip up sentiments. It's possible she's trying to show her constituents that she's still there for them. It's possible this is just a political play to continue to, play politics. Should she have gone? Do you think that was a
Natasha,
right political decision?
Senator
was that the right political decision to make?
Is being strategic right now and positioning herself.
Was that the right strategy decision? Was that the right strategy?
She's trying to get something out of your analysis.
Is it the right thing for her to do?
Was it the right political strategic decision to make?
For being a politician and being strategic, yes. But also, it shows how she feels for the people she's representing, because it's not just about her now. It's not about the people of Kogi Central. She needs to go back there and, fix laws, policies.
Sorry,
can
I ask you a question?
Chidi, go ahead.
Can I ask you a question? Can you sacrifice the Senate rules, which is part of the 1999 Constitution? Can you sacrifice it in the altar of one particular constituency?
So the thing now is that at the end of the day, she represents some a senatorial district, and no matter what happens, those people are meant to be paramount.
Please, as you answer this question, put yourself as a consultant. Put yourself in the shoe of a Senate president. Can you sacrifice a standing Senate?
It's not. Every institution
of a constituency.
Every institution have their regulations and their rules, right, which you have to adhere to. That's what actually propels and moves that institution, right? Yeah. But then again, they are conflicting.
To what extent can you uphold that?
They are conflict. It's meant to be paramount, meant to be number one, right? So. But at this point in time, I'm saying, coming from the perspective, the prism of being a politician, right, and strategically positioning yourself, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is
that she will not be allowed.
Yeah.
To, so
she already a day before, there were news that their security outfits already stationed at the gate.
They were beefing up security
because they know that
they
are politicians. They know how they operate. That this is what is going to be. What is going to be on Tuesday, right? She's definitely not going to come there alone. Already, Aisha Yusuf was already saying, I'm going to the place, to the Senate, to the National Assembly with the senator. You know what that means, right? They are going to is going to be like a revolt, right? So definitely the Senate needs to beef up their security, because nobody would. I don't know what they were anticipating, right? So being a politician strategically, yes, but being an individual who's meant to uphold and respect the laws and regulations of the Senate, no.
But if you're a consultant, I won't hire you again. So you can't tell me no. And
no, if I'm a political consultant I'm telling you, if I'm a political consultant for Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan, I would tell her, go ahead and do what you're doing, because strategically you're positioning yourself, you're putting yourself out there, and you're making yourself a symbol, for something, right?
Being on the pages of newspaper.
So that's definitely what's politics all about. Is relevance. You have to be relevant.
All right. Now I think we have to let this topic rest, and I'd like to end on this note. Let us not forget how this started.
Yes.
Once you cast your mind back to the evolution of this, you understand possibly if it was right or if it was wrong. And I'll leave it at that.
Let's leave it at that.
Let's look at another headline very quickly. Your brief reaction, Barrister Chidi, because we're already out of time. So much time spent at the Senate.
We have a lot to
and we're out of time. Isn't that so shocking? Let's look at Platform Times. Reps move to ban public servants, families from patronizing private schools.
That's just what my mind was rolling on. I don't know. So many people are welcoming this as a wonderful legislation, but can you look at it from this point of view, that it is a reaction to corruption? You understand? It is a reaction to corruption. Now look, it can't stand. You cannot disenfranchise certain people. You can't take the right away from them, because the laws of this nation are like a web that is so strong and thick to catch the poor, but so weak, you understand, to hold the rich. Who will enforce this legislation when it is made at the end of the day? The rich and the politicians will also find their way outside the shores of this country to go and get all the medical treatment that they need. But the rank and file and those who don't have that money will definitely suffer because of this law. And these politicians will, take an accolade, or probably take it on themselves that they have done something well for Nigeria. Meanwhile, what have you done? You are making a law. You are reacting to corruption. That's exactly what you are doing. What stopped them from using their oversight powers, you understand, to ensure that all money voted for healthcare and education in Nigeria, that the budgets are implemented up to 80%. So there'll be hospitals all over the federation. My problem is with implementation of all this law. Nigeria is a country we are replete with laws, but they are not implemented. And when they are taken to court, a different interpretation is given to them. I am not happy to know about this. It's not going to go well with so many Nigerians, because what about you being a government employee, and today when you retire, you're no more a government employee? What happens to you? What exactly happens to you? So it's not holistic. They really have to go and look at it very well, okay? You don't have to treat a symptom. Treating a symptom, reacting to symptom is what the members of the House are there doing. They are reacting to symptom. Do you know what they're reacting to? Governmental officials sending their kids outside the shores of this country and going for medical health care outside. That's just what they are reacting to. That's just what they are reacting to. But they can use their powers and their oversight functions to ensure that budgets and money voted in health care and education are implemented up to 85%. And they can come out and give themselves a kudo in the back that the budgets have been implemented.
All right.
They have the power to do that.
Time is fast spent. Thank you, Barrister Chidi, for joining us today and sharing your valid input. I'm sure this conversation will continue on another edition of the show.
Yes, we left out a whole lot of things.
And it's definitely going to cascade until tomorrow.
More political issues.
And other things. Thank you, Barrister Chidi.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you for having us. Shall we say that?
Because you actually took the show.
All right. We'll go on a quick break now. When the morning show returns, we'll take regional stories. Two important stories, as the Enugu State House of Assembly has screened and confirmed the 6 commissioner nominees are submitted by the Enugu State Governor, Dr. Peter Barr. Also, we're looking at Paul Onwanibe as he hosted Afia TV to a tour of the landmark Nike Lake Resort yesterday. Exciting stories coming up next. Stay tuned.